Hello and welcome on this beautiful autumnal evening in the heart of Soho at Paul Smith. My name is Genevieve Gaunt. It is my absolute delight to be here interviewing Archie Madekwe in collaboration with not only Paul Smith but also A Rabbit's Foot, the film and culture magazine. We are in the heart of Soho. We are also in the heart of the London Film Festival and Frieze. And I feel this is also, with this collaboration with Archie and Paul Smith and A Rabbit's Foot, it feels like a celebration also of like London's star quality, of our style and culture and creativity. And Archie is a Londoner whose star is most definitely on the rise. He trained at Lambda and then kicked off his career with Teen Spirit and was named as a Screen Star of 2017. He then did lots of TV and theatre and went on to do movies like Midsummer, Beau is Afraid, Gran Turismo, Saltburn, and now Lurker, which I have seen. It is a gripping, talented Mr. Ripley for the age of Instagram. You've absolutely got to see it. It's out on the 12th of December. We'll chat for 45 minutes and then it'll be over to you for some audience questions. So please join me in welcoming Archie.
Hi. Thank you.
Isn't he just gorgeous to look at? And in this suit, how lovely. Now this must have been quite a big week. The London Film Festival, Lurker.
Yeah.
How has it been?
It was great. We had our London premiere, which kind of marked the end of this like year-long press journey for this film, which is has been amazing and fun, and also killed us. But we've been all over the world, and so it was really lovely to end in London with my family seeing it. My dad is right there, and my friends and stuff. So yeah, it was lovely.
And can you tell us about Lurker? What is it about, and who do you play?
Yeah, it is about it's about a young man who manipulates his way into the inner circle of his favorite musician, and he slowly but surely kind of takes control of his creative as he kind of gets this information, starts blackmailing, doesn't want to leave, starts blackmailing him for friendship, basically. I play Oliver, the musician, and it was such an alien experience. I auditioned originally for the Lurker, which felt a lot more comfortable. Not because I am a Lurker, but I think mainly because I think actors are so much more comfortable being introverted and being like making yourself small. It feels so much harder to play someone, for me anyway, kind of larger than life and overconfident, and knowing this like this on paper, this character is kind of like the essence of coolness, and you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, how do I go into the room and like convince this director that I can be cool, or his perception of cool, or what does that mean? And then all the crew, and then the cast every day, all of those things are really anxiety-inducing. And then I have to make music, and then I've got to perform live shows, and I'm not a singer. But those kind of things, I guess those fears and anxieties were the thing that made it really interesting, and I knew that I'd not done something like that before. So yeah, it was a challenge, but a fun one, and it was my first time producing as well. I came on as producer, so yeah, it was lots of firsts, but it was very exciting.
I assumed that you would have maybe been offered the part, but you said you had to. It was quite an interesting, intricate audition process. What was that like? And how did you come on as producer as well?
Yeah, no, it was not an offer, still a hustle. I initially auditioned for Teo's part, and way back when, a lot of people have kind of compared this film to Saltburn, but I actually read the script before I read Saltburn, and it's kind of existed and was on the blacklist, which people send and upload scripts and they get rated, blah, blah, blah. Alex, the director, was his first film. He wrote The Bear, Beef, Dave, so really accomplished writer. I auditioned, during COVID. It was one of those scripts that everybody was reading, everyone was auditioning for, every actor friend had spoken about. And then thought I put in this unbelievable take. One of those really rare moments where you like do an audition, you think, I fucking killed that. I know I did. Heard nothing back. Heard nothing back. Crickets. The years go by, and I'm like, okay, they've made the film with somebody else. That's fine. I thought I did a good job. No worries. And then years go by. The film has a couple of different lives, and my agents call me and say, Alex Russell's in New York and wants to meet you for Lurker. I thought they made that film. No, he wants you to play the musician. He wants to talk about the musician character. And it came, and when I sat down with him, I found out that someone threw my name in the hat and said, you should think about this actor. He thought, oh, I don't know, maybe. And then he saw me in a coffee shop in LA and then just watched me for like 45 minutes as I was having a coffee with my cousin. And as he watched me more and more, was like, yeah, I think this guy could maybe play it. Maybe I should have a coffee with him. And then, yeah, Kobe, get to the back. and then that, with first-time directors, you know that you're always kind of it's a leap of faith. You're taking a gamble. You don't know if this person has the ability to make this thing come to life. You know that he wants to, but you have to put so much trust into them. And he said something to me at dinner. He was like, I don't know. There's so many things I'm going to get wrong. I'm going to have to lean on you and ask so many questions. But I've never been more ready to do something ever in my life. And that just made me. So many directors pretend they have the answers. And I really loved that he was so open about knowing the things that he didn't know. And that just started this relationship with us where he would call me when I then attached and be like, okay, can we talk through the 3DPs? Or we really need to get a piece of music that sounds like this, but we can't afford anything. And I started being like, okay, let me call this person and see what we can do. Or I know we haven't got anyone for the cast of this thing. Let me put in a call and maybe we should look at that actor. And then one of the producers was like, you're doing more than some of the producers on this film. As a producer, you should just come on as a producer. Which then meant that I could consciously take part in those creative conversations and collaborations, which I just enjoy doing. Anyway, as an actor, probably become quite controlling. But I enjoy, you can see something going wrong or people going, how can we fix this problem? And you're like, I want to say something, but it's not my place. It meant that I was allowed to be a part of those conversations, and then also allowed to learn in the places that the conversations I hadn't been a part of before, the sales, the distribution, all of those things that actors really don't have a look into. I then was given the chance to be a part of, and so yeah, it was an education as well as much as it was a collaboration.
Okay, you just said that you're not really a singer.
Yeah.
After seeing the movie, I really beg to disagree. He plays a pop star, and the reason why it's so convincing is you really do believe this guy could be a pop star, both in terms of charisma and also the singing. Can we talk about the music? It's beautiful.
Right.
Did you write it?
It was different for every song. I think it's important to say that when I signed on to the film, Alex was like, there is no music in this film. There's going to be no singing. You won't be singing. This isn't a film about music. This is a behind the scenes look, etc., etc. As we started prepping, Alex was like, yeah, I think we're going to want to put you in the studio. I was like, you've never heard me sing. Like, you don't know that I can do that. Like, he was like, oh, you'll be fine. You'll figure it out. Luckily, I enjoy singing, and that's something that I was interested in doing. It was one of those, late night thoughts where you think, what would my life have been if I'd been a singer? Like when you're like in the shower and you're like, it sounded kind of good though. And so it just meant that I could throw myself in the deep end. Kenny Beach is one of the best producers in the world, produced all the music for the film and did the score, which kind of felt like cheating because he has this incredible show called The Cave where he brings huge people in like Doja Cat or and he's able to make a complete kind of pop song in 30 minutes. And so I'd get in the studio and he'd say, okay, what are we going to do today? Like, what do we think? And I'd say, I kind of want a song that sounds a little bit like Dijon the Dress. What do you think? And he's like, okay, cool. I literally just made 20 songs.
Let's turn that into a song.
He literally could turn that into a song. But I said, yeah, I want a song that sounds like Dijon the Dress. And he was like, okay, I literally just made 20 songs for Dijon, pick one and we can use one of those. So every song in the film kind of had a different way of coming in. The most exciting one for me, I spent a lot of time with Rex Orange County, the musician, before as prep, and was asking him a lot of questions and talking to him a lot. And eventually he said, "Look, I've got this song that's supposed to be on my new album, this song called Love and Obsession, but it sounds like it should be in your film if you guys want it." So he sent me this demo, and if and when you guys see the film, some people think it's too on the nose. You would think that we wrote it for the film because it is everything the film is about. But it was just this really beautiful kind of serendipitous gift from Rex. And that kind of felt like the spirit of what the film was. Everyone was just pitching in and throwing things in and calling in a friend and calling in a favor and just making the film the best thing that it could possibly be. So yeah, the music was a first, but it was very exciting. And thank you for saying those things.
You once said that your favorite sound is that of a piano. Do you also?
Oh my God, I hate that you watched that video. I know exactly where I said that. I know exactly where I said that.
Is your favorite sound still the piano?
I actually weirdly stumbled across that video the other day, and I thought, why did I say that? But I do.
Why did you stumble across the video?
Oh, because someone tagged me in, like it was like a TikTok like thing of like a compilation of that things I said in that interview.
No,
and I
it's
thought,
a great interview. It's lovely. It's lovely. And you also say that you've got your parents being like, you know, it's nice. And your dad is here.
My dad is here, yeah. I do love the piano a lot. I can't play the piano.
Do you play the guitar?
But it's ish.
bit.
I could not really, but ish. But I love the piano. It's one of those things that I'm like, I'm like, Kobe, just sit down. I can see you looking for a chair. He's furious. Just sit down. Kobe, there's a chair right there. Sit down.
he's walking around in circles, yeah, he's. I love the sound of the piano. It's one of those things that I think. If I die, I'm on my deathbed and I can't play the piano, I'll be so disappointed in myself. If I can't play one song, but I'll often go and see like pianists that I like just on my own. I saw Ludovico Einaudi at the Apollo on my own years ago and just like closed my eyes the entire time. Just very relaxing. I do still love it, but that kind of was just an answer that came in the moment.
You went to Brit School.
Yeah.
So was like performing always part of the plan?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was always creative, always performing in some way as a child. And I remember before the Brit School, Brit, for anyone who doesn't know, is really the most incredible place. It's the only free performing arts school in the UK. This was when I was there. I think there's maybe one other now. And so you audition for you. I went at 14 at the beginning of GCSEs, and then you go all the way through A levels to 18. And I remember before that, I went to an all-boys rugby school, which was obviously, if all I'm doing is like being in the choir and acting and singing, it's hell. And I would just say to everyone, doesn't matter, I'm going to the Brit School. I hadn't auditioned, hadn't gotten in, but I was so determined at like 12, I was saying, I'm not staying here very long, I'm going to the Brit School. And thank fuck I got in, because that would have been so embarrassing. But it completely changed my life. It was this place that just let young people find their voice and be themselves. You called your teachers by their first names, you wore your own clothes, and there was no emphasis on the industry. Everything was about like your vocation. So you weren't auditioning, no one had agents, but we'd say, oh, what's in this attic? Just say, I don't know, it's an attic. We'd be like, let's see, oh sick, can we put a play on in here? Then they'd fill out the health and safety forms for us and be like, go on and do it. And just like, they just let us explore and just kind of do what we wanted, which I think for me, then when I went to classical drama school later on, I went to Lambda. I mean, completely different experience. And I had the experience of being a Brit as this thing to hold on to, being like, I know that the industry doesn't have to be so rigid. I know it doesn't have to look like this. I know that people of color can be in a Chekhov play or can be in a Shakespeare play because I've done it already. And then I was at drama school and being told something very similar, for something very different, something very dissimilar. But Brit it opened my eyes up to, I don't know, just acting not being one thing. It can be kind of whatever you want it to. It's storytelling and can be anything you want it to be. And I think there's a lot of, especially like traditional British institutions that tell you to succeed, to do it, it has to look like this. You have to fit this mold. And I reject that. And I was really happy that I'm still so proud that Brit is a place that allows young people that don't fit that mold to do it,
Thinking of storytelling and getting into character, I was reflecting on your films and thinking about costume. And I feel like film and fashion do go hand in hand sometimes. I mean, Paul Smith, so Daniel Day-Lewis shadowed Paul Smith when making Phantom Thread. And I mean, you've worn like black tie, you've worn bear skins. I mean, you've worn like so many different things. Is that important to you, like costume for character? How do you find character? I mean, maybe it isn't. Like, is there a...
No, it definitely is. I think you definitely, as soon as you put on clothes of the character, you start to feel like the character. That isn't always the case. Sometimes you'll be doing something really modern or where it just is actually the costume designer's idea is to we don't want the clothes to be a distraction. Actually, it's t-shirts, jeans, and there's not much that it informs something, but I'm not finding all of the character from t-shirts and jeans. But something like Saltburn, where we're in tuxes for lunch, that completely changes the way you hold yourself. It completely changes the way you walk. It changes the way that you move through a space. I remember when we did the screen test when we first all got together and we first all got into costume, and we were in this amazing kind of grand hall, and we were with Linus and Emerald, our DP, and Emerald, the director, and we all had these tuxes on. And I remember they were really tight. They were so tailored. And Emerald just said, put your feet just together. And there was something like wearing this tux and that tiny little note that unlocked the entire character for me. And then in the same way, like with something like this TV show C I did, where you're like wearing a bearskin every single day for 3 years. I did that show. And you're in minus 20 degrees at the top of a mountain, and you're literally just letting this bear keep you warm. It's the only thing that's keeping you warm. It completely changes the way that you interact with that piece of costume on your body. And so, yeah, it definitely does. It completely unlocks an entire world for you if you let it, and if you want it to.
Speaking of Saltburn, I assume everyone here has kind of seen it. He's got this sweetness and charisma on screen, and then also just played that prick so well. I mean, he's so versatile. Did your parents see it? It's been worrying me. Did they see Saltburn?
Yeah.
Okay.
They've definitely seen it, yeah.
What's your dream role? I'm sure there are loads of projects coming up, and we'll talk about those, but because you've done stage, everything, is there something that you're itching to do?
There's no it's always director-led. There's so many directors that I want to work with. Whether it's Steve McQueen or Cantamir Balagov or Ruben Ostlund or Yorgos, or there are just all these different people that you're like, I would love to be a part of their worlds. But there isn't I can't wait to tell that story. There's a couple of things that I'm developing, but there's a dream role that I'm developing with Ari Aster, and we've been working on it for a couple of years, and now that's finally coming to fruition. And
you've done 2 movies with him, right?
Yeah. He's a good friend.
Midsummer and
Beau is Afraid. Yeah. And so we just want to keep working together, and there's something that we've been developing together for a long time. And now that's finally coming to fruition. That feels like a dream role. It really is just, I don't know, I think it's often about choosing parts where I haven't seen someone that looks like myself in before in certain worlds. Like Gran Turismo, for example, I did not take that part because I love Gran Turismo or cars or PlayStation. Like I didn't even have my driving license a week before I started the film. And so it was none of those things, but I couldn't believe that Sony were giving that much money to a huge studio film to make a film about this like young mixed race guy from Wales. I was like, wow, I'd never seen something like that before when I was a kid. I didn't see like a young British guy like on a huge studio film that looked like me. That's incredible. And so that was the kind of driving thing, was taking up, being in that space and like letting young people see someone that looked like them. And that goes across the board. Riz Ahmed has this amazing article that's in, I can't remember what the title of it is, but it's in The Good Immigrant. And talks about different casting types. And so it's like 3 levels of casting for people of color. And it's like the stereotype. So he is playing like a terrorist. Is like level 3. Or level 2 is like the subverted stereotype where he's playing a doctor. So there's a stereotype that Asian people are smart, but also it kind of could have been somebody else, but you kind of know it went to him. And then the dream is the everyman, where anyone could have got the part and it went to him. And I think I've been really lucky that I have played a lot of those parts, where a lot of the parts I played actually weren't always dictated on race or because of ethnicity, etc. Those parts are also incredibly interesting, but I think it's important for us to tell stories about people of color that don't exist in spaces of trauma, because I think that is what we are so used to seeing. When you see like big campaign films about people of color, about black people, it's often like a slave film, or it's often a film where people are like struggling. And I think it's really great to just have people of color in films and it not be about the fact that they're a person of color. And so I'm often trying to find those parts that feel exciting and interesting. And I gotta tell you, there are few and far between. And so, you're kind of really combing through to find those interesting parts. Because a lot of those dream directors aren't always writing parts for people that look like me. If I won't name a director because we're on the record, but so-and-so is writing a part, they're often not tailoring it to a person of color. They usually have a person in their mind. And so the game is trying to change their mind and trying to put yourself in those spaces. So there's no dream part, there's lots of dream parts.
You mentioned Chekhov and Shakespeare.
All of that, would love to do more of that, yeah.
Is there any particular Shakespeare play that you'd like to tackle?
God.
Would you direct? Would you direct for?
Definitely, I would all of these things. I mean,
I think it's going to happen.
I'm definitely not limiting myself, without a doubt. It's a long life.
You also love art.
I love
I'm going to sound like a lurker now. But I just see on his Instagram, I'd just been to see the Kerry James Marshall at the Royal Academy. And
so good.
Just blown away. And then I also saw you had been there too.
Did.
Might I add, just after I'd been, so not
Could have
following him around. But you love art. We are in Freeze Week.
Yeah.
Art, film, style. If you could have a blank check and buy any painting in the world, or you could commission something, what would you choose?
There's so many. It's really Sophie's choice question. Obviously, yeah, it is Freeze Week, and it's so funny. Like walking around Freeze, I was saying just the other day, I always find myself being drawn, thinking I found like a new artist, and being like, oh my God, look at that! Oh fuck, it's Reggie Burroughs Hodges, or someone, or Kerry James Marshall, or Lynette Yiedon, like always my favorite artist. There is the Kerry James Marshall piece in the hair shop with the floating, the barbershop in the it's the black hair shop, the women's shop with the floating Sleeping Beauty. There's like a white kind. There's like a Sleeping Beauty that's kind of stretched, and there's like a little girl looking underneath her as like they're in this black hair shop. It's stunning. Anything by Lynette. The Noah Davis unicorn, the boy and the unicorn. I love that, and I love that picture so much because it kind of relates to what I was just talking about, like finding those unicorn parts. Every time I see that piece. It's like this young boy like on this unicorn, like hunting for, I don't know, something magic. I always love that piece. So many, yeah.
Definitely inspired by Letterboxd, but if I said what are your kind of 3-4 favorite movies, Like, what would they be? And then they probably change. They will change. I know.
Sophie's Choice, awful question, but it really scares me. But
Sophie's Choice is.
it's no. That's sorry, great film, but it's not on there. I'm saying it's like difficult to answer. La Vie en Rose, I always think about because I remember seeing Marion Cotillard's performance in that and immediately Googling who played Edith Piaf in La Vie en Rose throughout the different ages, thinking it was like 3 different actors, then realizing they were all her and just being like my mind being blown. I was like, what? One actor can do that? What the hell? How did she do that? And I still watch that in disbelief, that kind of Marcel scene where she realizes, actually, no spoilers, and no spoilers for those who haven't seen it, but it's unbelievable performance. I think for the stories and the camera work and the craft, I always really love Children of Men. I think there are so many unbelievable kind of feats of cinema that Alfonso Cuarón pulled off. There's so many huge wonders with like huge explosions and buildings coming down. There's that amazing story where I'll try and make it quick because it's not. But anyway, there's this one amazing scene, if anyone's seen that film, where they're like running into the building and they have the baby and everything. There's this huge shootout, and they said it's so complicated. They said, okay, we can do this 3 times because the set. I think they had a week to do it, and they can maybe do it 3 times because the reset was 24 hours. It was such a big reset. And the first time they did it, they got halfway through. Alfonso called cut. It's not working. Reset 24 hours. They do it again halfway through. The cameraman trips, and they're like, "Fuck, we've got 1 chance to get this done." They do it. They get quite far in. Huge explosions, and a squib goes off. This kind of blood splatter, and it splashes the camera. Goes all over the camera, and Alfonso calls, "Fuck, cut!" And it's so loud that nobody hears. So they just continue the scene. They get to the end of the scene, and all the crew are screaming and jumping and hugging. And Alfonso's like, "No, that was a disaster. I called cut. It didn't work. There's blood all over the camera." And the DP was like, "Go and watch that back. That just made the scene." And they keep it. If you watch it, they keep it in. It's this amazing moment where the blood just splashes the camera. It's incredible. It's such an amazing piece of cinema. Number 3. Huh? Someone say something? Oh, I thought someone helped me out. No, The Dark Knight. Who said that? Where'd that come from? The Dark Knight? That's an incredible performance. And then, No, not for me. I'll say like I love this film called Beanpole, by Kantemir Balagov. There was a moment that I had to stop watching that film for like 24 hours. I couldn't come back to it. It was so moving and like arresting. I think any piece of cinema that does that, like stops your breath or makes you can't look. You have to turn away. It's so impressive, and that film just stayed with me forever. I think he was like 24 when he made it, and his DP was even younger. It's just such an incredible piece of cinema. I'll say those. Don't hold me to them forever.
No. I mean, outside of the filmmaking world, if you weren't an actor, what would you want to do? And I don't mean like a director necessarily, because I think that's all coming from producing and filmmaking. But like, if you weren't in this business, what would you be doing?
I always thought I would have been a really good A&R in music, like artists and relations. I always really enjoyed kind of helping my music friends like along in their career and like being like, oh, let's try and set you up with the music, like a session at this studio. We know this person, or maybe we can get this brand to dress you. That'd be so sick. Like, I just really enjoyed that. I love music so much, and I guess I never really saw a career for myself in music, and so I just loved, I don't know, hyping up all my talented friends in music. I think that would have just been a really fun job. I think I would have been very good at it. Sometimes you like see some musicians in the rollout and you think, oh, God, I would have done it so differently. Otherwise, maybe like, I don't know, would have loved to have been a curator or something. That would have been really fun, or really interesting. It's a world, the art world is one that I really love, but in a serious way or in a way that actually feels maybe real or adult is something that I've only entered in the last couple of years. And like, where I'm actually like talking to artists or buying something or going to openings and meeting curators, etc. And the more I learn about that world, the kind of more I always find it really interesting. Quite vapid, and like going to Freeze and you see all the collectors having these chats. I'm glad I'm not in that world, but I do think that there is like fun performance in it.
You're a Londoner born and bred, is that right?
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
South London, yeah.
Do you still feel like, do you have a favourite spot in London? Do you still kind of feel that you're like close to your roots? I don't know if your family home is still in.
I still live in London. I moved not long ago not for the first time. I'm 30 years old. Moved a few times, but I moved out of South London for the first proper time. I now live in East London. My family reacted like I moved to. My family. I know. My family thought I was moving to Australia. My mum was saying, "Well, we won't be coming to see you over there. We won't be coming to see you over there." But there's still so many bits of London that feel so nostalgic. I still love Crystal Palace. Still love Brockwell Park. Dulwich. There's so many bits that feel so nostalgic. But I just love London in general. It takes leaving and coming back to realize how magic and special this city is, and how much of a privilege it is to grow up in the city where there is just so much culture, so diverse. Every day is different. It's so spontaneous. I mean, there are some cities that call themselves like unbelievable cities that don't even have half of like what we have in the city. I've lived here my entire life, and there's still bits of London that I don't know, mainly North London. But there are still bits of London that feel alien to me, and I still feel like there are things to discover. And so, yeah, the other day I was kind of sitting looking out, and I was like, I just don't think I could ever. Actually, I went for a funny dinner at the top of the Shard. I was like, we were like, have we ever had dinner at the Shard? No, let's go on the Shard. And the food was not great, but it was fun. I was looking out and I was like, I don't think I could ever live anywhere else. I love the city
So glad we're not sponsored by that.
so much. Sorry for anyone that worked at the Shard. I don't think anyone did.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, have you got a yearning to go to a particular place? I've never been to anywhere in Scandinavia, and that's my kind of go-to, like I need to go.
Oh, yeah, I love Scandinavia. Korea is top of my list at the moment. Like, I'd love to go to South Korea, Seoul and stuff. I'd love to spend more time in Japan. Japan is one of my favorite places in the world, and I've done it very differently twice. Kind of went backpacking around myself when I was like 18 for a month. Then I shot a bit of a film there. And they were two very different experiences, and I loved them both equally. I would just love to do more like the countryside, etc. I don't know so much of the world. Brazil, kind of South America, that kind of way of the world, yeah.
Can we talk about the projects that are coming up? Things that you've kind of are in post-production and anything else you can talk about? I know that there's Hyena.
Yeah, Hyena, which is insanely one of the last things that David Lynch was working on. I have these like crazy emails like that David Lynch had written like about me casting me in the film, which is very special. It's not loads that I can say about that, but yeah.
Can you tell us the premise?
No. No. Well, I probably could if I'd like checked. I checked what I could say before, but I didn't. So I don't want to say. I don't want to say too much. It's yeah. No, I'm just not going to get myself in trouble. But it's the world. David Lynch and the writer Scott Covey developed it together, and so there is a Lynchian kind of quality to it. Is all I will say.
Is that the project you're doing with? Is it Havana?
Havana Rose movie.
Yeah, who's also in Lurker.
Also in Lurker.
Okay. It looks really interesting.
It is very interesting, and it's an unbelievable script. It's truly such a special script. And Havana is a tour de force actor. And we met doing Lurker, and I was attached to Hyena, and I saw Havana do this play. And she was so incredible in it. It was so raw, so emotional and vulnerable. I called the director and was like, if you're in New York, go and see this play right now because she needs to play Genevieve. And he saw it, was blown away, and yeah, that's how that happened. So yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Wonderful. I might come back with some more questions for Archie, but we are in a room of filmmakers and people, and I want to give you guys a chance to ask him questions too. So shout out. We're in a small space. I think we'll be able to hear you. Does anyone have any questions?
Just
Yeah,
make
Arch, I'll ask you one.
go on.
Right, now you've finally got one leg out the nest, right?
2 legs, thanks very much. Like my whole body.
Even now, he phones me up, right? And when he phones me, if I hear the word father, I know I've got to make a trip somewhere.
He's a plumber, so
If
it's
Disney-
very useful.
If Disney was to offer you a role, what character would you play?
Disney,
Disney.
specifically.
Specifically Disney. I'm going back, way back.
He's alluding to me dressing up as Pocahontas. So let's just get that out of the way before he shuts it out. That's what he's alluding to. The last time you ever invited to anything. I don't know. I don't know. There's so many. I mean, I think that's the kind of that world of like Disney. You know that when you choose one, that's kind of who you're remembered at in that universe forever. And so I don't know. There are so many amazing stories that haven't been told yet.
Villain or a hero?
Both. I think it just depends on the filmmaker and the way that it's being told. And
Would you do like animation voice? Because
with love, yeah.
was that your first Audible project this year?
That was my first Audible project, yeah. But I did that show Love, Death and Robots,
Okay.
for Netflix, and that was so
Right.
much fun.
Right.
And yeah, I think our episode won an Emmy. It was really fun doing that kind of stuff. So I definitely would do more of that. But yeah, never say never. I'm open to everything, villain or hero, not Pocahontas.
Any other questions?
Do you think Ratatouille, like the main guy, was a good guy or bad guy? Because it depends.
Go on, what's your take?
Misunderstood.
Misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Like, you're just trying to feed his family.
No, I see the point of view.
It's just you're talking about Disney and hero. But
I see the point of view. I'm not going to go on the record saying hero or villain in case someone on Twitter tears me down. But Alex Russell, the director of Lurker, said pitched for Ratatouille too. So that, he was like, I would have a great take on that. So maybe I'll do that with him. Who knows? Yeah.
you heard it here first.
When I was at school, this guy, he was really smart, and he went up for Oxford, and in his Oxford interview, they asked him what his favourite movie was, and he didn't even blink, he didn't flinch, he just said Stuart Little.
Oh, that is an amazing movie.
Yeah,
I
it's a
can't
great
believe that no
film.
one's tried to remake that. That is an amazing film. And also that mouse looks so real. Like that also aged really well for me. Anyway.
Like Shyamalan as well.
Is it really? I did not know that.
What?
Wow.
Stuart Little.
M. Night Shyamalan, crazy. You learn something new every day. But also again, like every night, like Harry Potter for me took completely down when Alfonso Cuarón did Prisoner of Azkaban. So like it really is just so filmmaker focused because those films leveled up when Alfonso set the tone. Not that 1 and 2 aren't great as well, but number 3 is my favourite. Yes.
Have you had any particularly difficult auditions? Like,
Yes, I've got a really great, terrible audition story. So I was auditioning for Game of Thrones way back when, and I get into the room and I think I'm really excited, it's Game of Thrones, I can't remember what season it was. And I get into the casting office and I think, it smells like shit in it. I think, what the fuck? And I'm like, it's actually making me a bit nauseous. It's making me feel, it's distracting. I'm like trying to go over my lines, I feel so distracted. And I see my friend Lewis, and I say, hey man, how you doing? I dap him up, and I'm like, I think it's Lewis, that stinks. What the hell? Why does he smell so bad? Well, I guess it's good. He's probably not gonna get the job, maybe I will. And I then get into the room, and I say hi to everyone, and I'm doing the scene, and I think, it's even stronger in here. Is it the costume? Why does it smell so bad? I'm like kind of off I'm like kind of forgetting my lines because this smell is really distracting. Anyway, I then leave and I think that was so strange. And I go to this party later on, my friend says, how was your day? I said, it was good. I had this weird audition for Game of Thrones and it was weird. The cop, the smell's back. What the hell? Dog shit over both of my shoes and I put on it all around. I mean, it says so much about me that I didn't just check my shoes. I blamed on everybody else but me. It's so sad I did not get the job, and it's rare that casting director sees me again. Yeah, that was a terrible audition. Terrible.
We've got time for a couple more questions. Yes.
I think I've got like a few, but
Please.
one is like, what advice would you give to somebody who's just graduated, wants to
Great
get
question.
in the industries, anything you've learned that you can pass on to somebody?
Yeah,
Words of wisdom?
definitely. I think see everything, see plays, see films, like develop an opinion on why you like those things, why not. Talk to people. If you like go to a play and you see the director, say hello if you liked it. Like make yourself known. Make things with your friends. I think the most important thing is, especially as an actor, you feel like you're constantly waiting for permission to do it. You're constantly waiting for like an agent to call and say, you've got a job, like you can act again. But like also you can make that happen on your own. You know, you can get a bunch of friends in a room and do a play reading and invite people down. And there are so many ways to feel like you are doing your job without being told, here's the keys to do it. And I think that was really important, constantly finding ways, especially at the beginning of your career, just finding ways to do it, finding any way to do it. I kind of joined any youth theatre, I'd email directors, I would ask, like, can I come and sit in and watch your rehearsal? Can I have a coffee with you? I would just kind of do anything. I would make teas or coffees on sets just to like watch. I would just kind of do anything and just immerse myself in it as much as possible. I would try to read as many plays as I could. I truly emailed everyone, spoke to everyone, every agent, every kind of thing, just to make sure. I knew that it wasn't a world that I knew super well, and I wanted to make sure that I just knew as many people in it as I could. And a lot of people will ignore you, and a lot of people will say no, but somebody will say yes. Yeah, I'll take a coffee with you. I remember Roy Williams was is an incredible playwright, and it was a Roy Williams monologue that got me into drama school. It was a Roy Williams monologue that got me my agent. I saw him at a press night, and I just said, I'm gonna go tell him. And I just said, hey, I want to let you know that, you know, your work has kind of done so many things for me. And he invited me to lunch and was such a champion of my career going forward. And things like that are really special, especially as a young person. You need for somebody to see you and recognize you as an equal and have a creative conversation with you. It was just so validating. And looking for those people and finding those people and holding on to those people. I had a handful of those people that really were incredibly special to me. Chris Jumbo was another one, incredible actor. She really saw me as an equal, validated me as a young person. So yeah, look for those people.
Yes, yeah, yes.
It's kind of riffing onto that question, but I guess could you impart any sort of cheat codes that you kind of picked up along the way? Like I know some people a lot of times feel totally helpless being from like unprivileged backgrounds and not necessarily having the tools to actually even figure out where to start, you know, but are there any things that you picked up along the way? Like, are there any specific like theatres that are non-profit that you went to, or was there any like sort of after school initiatives that you found out about, or was there any like is there anything that people could just immediately tap into, like for example going to a specific library, or you know, I wonder.
Totally. I mean, the sad thing is, especially with arts funding cuts, so many of the things that were resources for me closed down, don't exist anymore. Ideas Tap was a huge one. National Youth Theatre was huge for me. That unlocked a lot of stuff for me. I did a lot of really brilliant plays with really brilliant actors of all ages. That really validated a lot of stuff for me.
I have to say the thing as a young person that changed my life, that was really, I think, my secret weapon and this magical power was going to the Brit School. That really changed everything for me. It's completely free, and I really felt like making theatre, being a part of those conversations was the thing that I was supposed to do, being there. And so then you leave, the thing that I couldn't relate to was this thing of, I then going to drama school and being told it had to look a certain way, or I had to be a certain way. Brit already unlocked all of that for me. Or being told that my age, I remember Brit, there was this, I can't remember who said it. Somebody said, you're going to go to the end, you're always going to be in these rooms and people are going to say, okay, acting is so competitive, there's going to be 2 of you in this room that are going to make it out of a class of 30. And you have to look around and just say, okay, me and who else? And like, Brit allowed me to have that confidence, whereas a lot of other spaces where, I mean, to be frank, you know, a lot of traditional drama schools, you look around and the demographic are mainly middle-class white people, but you don't see people that look like yourself. It's not reflected back at you, a version of yourself. Brit told me, like, there is a space for you. You can be in the industry, you can be an actor because you exist. Like, you are a human being. And so there are people that look like you whose stories need to be told. And so there was always going to be jobs, there's always going to be stories. And that was so important to hold on to and to remember. Whenever I thought to myself, oh God, there's not a place for me in this film, there's not a part for me in that world. It's like, what, I look like me. And so obviously, like, there is a part for me in this world because I am me. And I think it's really good to hold on to. Otherwise, you know, it was a long time ago that I was like, I'm 30 now, so it's like 15 years ago where I was doing a lot of those things. And so, you know, National Theatre, Royal Court, Young Vic, I think that they've still got a lot of their young people's programs.
You're right, though. We do need more of these programs.
It's
We need more
difficult.
money
Sure,
going back into.
And the Brits, when I went.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Come on,
Not
here.
bachelor, not
Come up
bachelor.
here,
Okay, we'll
Steve.
keep it
Get
short.
involved.
I remember when I used to go there, and the diversity he talks about, you had everything. Kids were dressed how they wanted, you had trans kids, you had punk rocker kids who could never express themselves, probably walking around the streets. But there they felt so comfortable, and it allowed them to express themselves, and all their talents come out there. It's an amazing school.
Yeah, it's very.
I don't think we publicise it enough how great it is.
Yeah, it's a really special place.
Did I see another hand? Yes, Ryan.
Hi. In your career, how much of it has been, I want to hit this level by this year, this level by this year, these are my goals, versus I'm going to let things happen and being open to what the universe brings to me?
That's a good question. Definitely the former. A lot of it has been very intentional. Of like, okay, so I did a TV show I was on like Apple TV's first show for like 4 years. It took up a lot of my 20s. It was like, okay, I'm getting off that show. For the next few years, I want to do like great film. I want to like in those couple of years, I did like Midsommar and Saltburn and Gran Turismo. I was like, I want to start doing. Then you say, okay, this year I want to get a good play, and you start you definitely start giving yourself goals and meets. And sometimes you're surprised by the thing that is brought to you, or something really catches you off guard. You don't know how you're going to respond to a script, and so all of a sudden this TV show, this miniseries, this whatever it is put in front of you, and all of a sudden that's the thing that you care about. But there definitely is. The thing that's difficult also about acting is you get to a certain point and you have to start saying no to roles that you would have said yes to before, because you're constantly trying to like build. You're playing, it's like stepping stones, and so much of your choices, it's like chess.
Can you give any, without naming names, can you give an example of something you've turned down recently and why?
It would be a film, for example, a film that I would have said yes to, but now that maybe the part is too small, or the gamble feels too big, or it's hard for TV, for example, or a show that requires a lot of options, because that takes you out of a film career for a long time and has to feel like a show that you really
really can believe in if you're going to sign on for that many years, especially an American show. You sign 7-year deals mostly. If you're a lead, and so if you're then contracted for 7 years, that's a big chunk of your life. I'm almost 40 when I come out of that, if that's a successful show, and some shows shoot 8-9 months of the year, so that's your life. You know what you're signing on to for a long time, and so you're trying to remain open and available to certain things, whilst also maneuvering, positioning yourself, and also choosing parts that allow other directors to see you in ways they haven't seen you before. Okay, I've not done something that, this wasn't a conversation, for example, like I wasn't in Warfare. Why wasn't I in Warfare? Okay, I should do something where someone sees me a little bit like that, or where I feel a bit tougher, or I feel a bit stronger, where they can see me play a soldier. So maybe so if I take that part, maybe that opens up that kind of world to me a little bit more. There's also a lot of maneuvering and like chess playing with the way that you take parts. Or okay, if I do this thing in New York, it means that I can also do these play reading. Like it's just there's never like one reason. It becomes very political, but with success means that there's only you get put into a smaller pond of like they're only seeing this amount of actors, but all the actors that they're seeing are all amazing at the top of their game, and so it starts becoming a lot more difficult. We're in an oversubscribed profession, and there aren't enough parts, there aren't enough good parts, aren't enough good scripts. There's so many bad scripts, and so it takes chasing. When something becomes available, where you really believe that you could be the right person for, like the hunt for it becomes so much stronger now. But those things it's really rare. It's really few and far between.
That's such a good answer. Yeah, combination of talent, just natural talent, but also hard work, and there's that saying about luck is opportunity and kind of going for it. So I love that. I'm sad to say I think it's time to wrap this up. Do we have any burning questions? Okay, one last quick burning question.
Yeah, I guess you talked a lot about the women part and like trying to like look for these roles, and I guess I'm curious about how you're manifesting that in the work that you're now doing as a producer and as potentially a director and writer.
Yeah, it just is about how I'm manifesting it, or
how you're manifesting, or how you're also just doing it.
I'm constantly one way in which I'm doing it, I constantly look through archives. I'm constantly going through essays. I'm constantly reading things. That's for stories that already exist. You're constantly trying to find like great source material, trying to listen to podcasts, you find these like little nuggets, and you think, could that be a film? And actually, it annoys me because you start seeing everything through that lens. You read like a really compelling article, and you think, God, that could be a film. And I wish I could just like digest that as like a normal human being. But you start looking at everything through the lens of work. But there is also something really useful in that, because there's just this, I don't know, you're the lens and the perspective of like, could I play that, or not even me in the work that I'm trying to produce and write. It's not always about the thing that I'm writing. I would not be in, but it's a world that I'm shocked and surprised that I've not seen on screen before, and I really want to come to life. And so it just is. I don't know. It's looking for those pockets and looking for those like interesting like worlds that we just haven't seen cinematically, or that I think I have a very specific view or take on. Or
So you're saying really you can also make your own magic by looking for it and looking for those stories.
Without a doubt, I think that's the most important thing.
I mean, if you see an idea,
Just don't start sitting
in
with
your
me.
profession now with AI. I mean, if you've got an idea, is it possible to just put your idea to AI and it make a script for you?
No, but that's how absolutely awful is that?
Like, it's something people do it.
That is a huge conversation.
That is a huge conversation, and we are
No, we
going to
haven't got
continue
time.
this over Negronis. We're going to continue that conversation downstairs over Negroni. So important public service announcement: Lurker is out in the UK, cinema release on the 12th of December. And this is not sycophancy. I loved it. You've got to see it. Please join me in thanking Paul Smith, Arabisfer, and Archie Madekwe.
Thanks.